There we go. Click the go live button, Kelly.
Brilliant. Well, you've just popped up on my screen saying that you're live.
Yes, it looks like we are. There we go. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Brilliant. We are live. Yes, it's looking like we are live. So we'll just wait a few moments and let people join us. Yeah, so, okay, I can see somebody is watching us. So, guys, welcome, and thank you for joining. If you're on the replay, hello. As you start to join, guys, say hello. Let me know where you're watching from today. I can see the room is starting to fill up, which is wonderful. I'm here today with Meegan Bradley. And Meegan is one of the amazing teachers inside the Profitable Yoga Teacher. And she's here with me today to share with you guys her journey so far. So one thing I will say about Meegan is that she is a total action taker. It's true. She doesn't mess about and she's really driven and passionate about what she does. So I'm so excited that she's here today to share with you guys what she's been up to. And during her time inside the Profitable Yoga Teacher, she's launched her membership and also she's launched her first online course. And we're going to talk about all of that today. So welcome, Meegan. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. It's always so cool to get students here into the group and to share with all the other members here in the group as well what you guys have been up to. So let's just start by learning a bit more about you and for you to share with everyone here today what you've been up to so far in your journey as a yoga business owner, and yeah, tell us how it all started, when it all started, and what your business journey's been like so far.
Well, it was a journey that I never thought that I would take. I was a secondary school teacher in Hackney, assistant lead in English. That was kind of what I thought I was going to do with my life. And for various reasons, not because I didn't love teaching, but the bureaucracy, the 9 to 5, the really rigidity of teaching, I sort of started to fall out of love with that. And I was never a natural entrepreneur, never somebody who imagined running my own business. But my wife has always ran her own business. She runs a music business and kind of like pushed me when we were leaving London to open a yoga studio in Margate. And I sort of kind of like held my breath and decided to jump off the cliff and started a yoga studio, which was quite, I don't want to say easy, but for me, because I was never somebody who had like an Instagram. As a teacher, you're not like self-promoting. You're a part of like a bigger picture. And so this whole idea of then like, I'm Meegan, this is what I do, check me out, like that felt really foreign and weird. So, but doing it as a studio was easier because it was not so much about me. So I was running a studio in Margate. And then I guess about in 2019, I decided, okay, I'm going to start dabbling. And I think this is when I started following you in sort of, oh, I'm gonna do my own personal brand. I'm gonna be more than the yoga studio. And I just started with like small things, following you in the Facebook group and kind of getting tidbits here and there. I ran a couple of retreats, which were great, but I mean, I had no strategy. I had, I was just like, oh, I'll cast my rod out and see what happens. And, it was going well. My first retreat like sold out like this, but then the ones following, they were tougher. And it was, that first blast of anything that I was doing was great, but to keep it going, the momentum, I needed strategy behind it. And I was kind of like ticking along, and then COVID hit. And suddenly my bricks and mortar studio, my income, everything was gone. And I think I drank a bottle of wine that night and sort of let myself free fall. But the next day, because like I said, my wife runs a music business, like both of us had no businesses as soon as we went into lockdown. And we're both quite type A's. We're we're both quite action takers. So we just decided we're not going to let this kind of destroy us. So we both started to pivot. And I mean, I did the natural thing that everybody did, which was, all right, I'm going to be a Zoom teacher and I'm going to teach loads of Zoom classes. And I think the first thing that really kind of kicked my butt into gear, I think you ran, I don't know if it was a weekend or it was like, it was a paid thing that sort of started you in this like thinking beyond the Zoom class.
Yeah, it was online yogi, I think. It was online.
Yeah. And that sort of, I think from that moment on, it's kind of like rocket fueled this, right, actually, this is going to be a business. And this is something that I'm going to continue on with, even if when my bricks and mortar studio does reopen.
Yeah, amazing. This is it. It's funny, isn't it, that you may have had some of these ideas about being online in the previously anyway, and then it kind of took a pandemic to really kind of get things rolling.
completely. Like in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm going to have a YouTube channel. I'm going to have, I'm going to do this online. I'm going to do that online. I never probably would have done those things, or I would have like, put something up and, never really pursued it. So I think for me now it's negotiating and figuring out post lockdown when things reopen. And I have quite a bit of anxiety about that as like a bricks and mortar business owner. And so I've got these two business brains now that I'm like, okay, how's this going to work?
Yeah, it's really interesting, actually. So at that point then, that time, around this time last year, right? Around more or less.
Yeah, I think it was March.
Yeah. What kind of skills and knowledge gaps did you recognize that you had that brought you into like that kind of made you see that, you wanted to come into the profitable yoga teacher, let's say?
Well, I think before lockdown, I was not a tech person. Like I literally would just always shout for my partner to come and help me. I almost like it was an identity. Like if there was, I'm not the tech person. I'm not the person who knows how to do any of this stuff, let alone like kind of figure it out. Like a lot of tech stuff, I think you've got to play around with it. And it just terrified me. And at this point, I think because I sort of saw this all happening and my yoga studio closed before we actually went into lockdown. So I'd already been kind of asking my wife to help me loads, and I felt very disenfranchised. I felt very disempowered because I constantly had to ask for her help. And, things like Zoom, setting up Zoom, all of the tech. So getting the webcam to connect, getting the mics to connect, like stuff now that I'm like, oh God, that was so easy. But I'd never done any of it before. And then, payment processing, I was doing all of this like haphazardly trying to figure it out on my Wix website that was just, thrown together. And which was really good. I don't use any of those processes anymore, but it was a real, okay, I got to get dirty to figure this out. And I'm probably going to do it wrong lots of times. So, a lot of it was kind of your guidance and then playing around with it, figuring things out, a lot of like stress as well. But I mean, that's learning. I think you have to kind of put yourself in uncomfortable situations to progress and to learn. And I think the biggest thing for me is I've sort of tried doing a lot of that on my own. And it took me so long. And I think I just realized that my time was worth the money to invest, even that online yogi course, like, it was a weird thing because suddenly I had no income, but it felt very easy to give the money over to you because I was like, you have a system and I'm not going to want to like throw my laptop out the window. And actually that is so much worth my time. I'm a 35-year-old woman. I've had enough of this. Like, I'll pay you.
Yeah, we just want to get the results now. We want the proven method to make it work. And I think online yogi, that was very much focused on the tech. When I created that course, it was a live course. It was in response to COVID. everyone going online, understanding Zoom. So it was very much about tech, the systems, the payment processing and all of that. And then a few months later, you came into the Profitable Yoga Teacher at that point. So you'd obviously been doing your Zoom classes and saw the opportunity around creating an online course, because of course that's what the Profitable Yoga Teacher is all about. It was about creating that online course. So what kind of shift had you gone through in the space of those couple of months that made you decide, actually there's more of an opportunity here? It's not just about being in Zoom, but there's something more that I want to be able to create for my community.
I think a lot of it had to do with the like complete and utter saturation. So everyone in the fitness world was hopping on and doing these Zoom classes. And I very quickly, because I mean, we were doing Zoom classes for my studio as well. So I mean, I was like zoomed out. And I just thought, you know, there's so many places to get these classes. You know, you can go on YouTube, you can go to all these different yoga teachers, everybody's giving it for free. And I think one of the things I always have known about myself, you know, imposter syndrome set aside, I've always known that I'm a really good teacher, that I have a unique style. And I think I just really like believed in that. And I'd been listening to your podcasts, and I think there were a few on like creating an online yoga course. And I just sort of, I think I knew that I wanted something more, and that I saw this potential of, at that point, really seeing it kind of marry with my bricks and mortar studio. And also this idea that I didn't have to just work with this tiny little island of, you know, this nubbin of Thanet anymore, that I could work with people all over the UK, and that I could work with people in Canada, because that's where I'm really originally from. And I just was really, to be honest, I was really excited. Especially in the first lockdown, I was like, boom, I'm going to do everything I can, because I never have this time. Like I've always so busy running the yoga studio, dog, you know, everything that we have going on. And I just was like, right, I'm going to grab this time that we may never have again. I mean, if it happened, you know, I don't have the same energy in the second lockdown, just because it's like, oh, you know, it's a bit of a drag, but it just felt exciting. And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to invest in seeing where this can go. Ooh.
Yeah, and you did, like, you really did kind of just grab it. You grabbed it, definitely. You know, you've since, I mean, we've not even got to the end of the program, and you've launched a membership and an online course. So we're going to talk about these. But first of all, just tell me a little bit more about what you've done in this time to actually grow your community. So a big part of the Profitable Yoga Teacher at the beginning of the program is all about growing and nurturing your community. So what have you been doing to grow your email list, and what types of things have kind of been working for you in terms of lead generation activity that you have seen has worked, and that you want and that you're planning to do more of?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me at the beginning of the course were the lessons on repurposing, because I had been writing a blog for about 6 months, but, you know, I just write the blog, put it out and be like, all right. And I think this whole idea of like, you can take this one bit of content and then sprinkle it in so many different places and repurpose it to have different kind of purposes, and to reach, you know, different people. So I have been taking all my old blogs. I've been now going live. So I go live weekly on my Instagram and my Facebook. I then take the recording from my Facebook and put that on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is tiny, but it's really nice. And I get kind of like 5 to 10 new followers a week. Yeah. And so I take that, put it onto YouTube. I then also take quotes from my blogs and turn them into like graphics for Instagram, which is working really nicely, into like little bits of stories. So sometimes I'll take sections of the live and turn them into stories. I am loving reels and turning them into little reels. You know, like 7 reasons to start yoga in 2021. And then I turn that into a reel. And that's been really fun. And actually doing consistent reels has really increase the engagement on my Instagram, including, oh, sorry, I think I might have lost you for a second. Engagement on my Instagram, including followers. And I just love making them. So yeah, I think going live, repurposing the blogs. I was already doing weekly emails, but sometimes it was a real stretch. Like, what do I write about? Where now I've been using the blogs in a more of an interesting way. I've been taking the videos that I've been then putting on YouTube. And also, like, at the bottom, I always do like a PS going live on this day. Make sure you check it out. So then people then join my Facebook group. So my Facebook group is almost 400 now. And I think when I started the Facebook group, again, that was quite early on in the Profitable Yogi, like, start a Facebook group, and was like, oh God, Facebook, like, this is, why would anybody want to start a Facebook group? No one's going to join it. No one's going to do anything. And actually, it's been the most fun. They're the most kind of get to know everybody in the community, especially in challenges. So I actually started a challenge today. And there's just loads of like videos coming in of people introducing themselves. And I just love it. I like sometimes can't keep up with it because everybody's engaging so much. So I would say, like, definitely the Facebook group, the repurposing, and the challenges. The challenges have been like the number one thing that has built my email.
Yeah. Okay. So you've done 3 challenges now. Is that right?
Yeah.
This is your 3rd that you've just started. Amazing. Yeah. So the first challenge was that, did you use that to launch your membership?
Well, no. So when I first launched my membership, I had no strategy. It was literally, okay, I've put this together, send an email. Guys, I've got a membership. And, like, you know, a testament to my community. I think I got 30 members off that, which is incredible because there was no launch strategy at all. And then so I just launched it. And then I did my first challenge, which was strength for chaturanga, which was an amazing challenge. And that's one I'm going to run every year because it's something that everybody struggles with.
That was just a list builder, that one?
No, my first challenge was the relaunch of my membership. So I had released my membership. So I don't even call it a launch. I just put it out there. Because I didn't know what I was doing. It was before the Profitable Yogi. I just knew I was doing all these Zooms. So I'm going to record them, put them into something so people can access it. And then I started doing the Profitable Yogi and I was like, oh, and I don't know if you remember, but I had kind of organized my challenge and said, because no one was kind of doing this yet. And I sort of said, should I be launching something with this? And you were like, you could. And it was literally, the challenge was live. And within the 7 days of the challenge, I put together a launch. I was a crazy woman. Like, people were emailing me separate links that weren't even in the Profitable Yogi yet.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, oh, you're actually ahead of yourself. We haven't even got to that part in the program. No, I do remember I was giving you some extra support in Messenger on that. And you've got 60 people in your membership off the back of that. That's right. I remember now. It's all coming back, which is incredible, So, and then, you know, being the action taker that you clearly are, you then moved on to create your first yoga course. So talk to us about the focus for that course and you know, why you decided on a yoga for beginners course and what did your validation look like?
Yeah, so my niche is really the non-yogi, and it kind of always has been. That's like I love working with people who, one, think that yoga is completely not for them, two, you know, have done a bit of yoga and think that it's, you know, oh God, no, it's definitely not for me. And mostly the reason for that is because that was me. I was, you know, thought that everything I needed to do had to be had to be really high intensity, thought that yoga was boring. I thought that I had to punish my body to exercise, that I had to shrink myself. You know, I had disordered eating for as long as I could remember. And it was getting really, really bad again. I was still a teacher at this time. And I mean, the reason I'm talking about this is yoga, I mean, it sounds so cliche to say saved me, but it made me, I always say, it just made me like a sassy badass. I just feel like, this is my body. It's amazing. I love it. And I just want other people to feel that way too. So give me the diet culture people, give me the people who kill themselves at CrossFit, give me, you know, everyone who's got a gym membership and never uses it, like that, you know, my builders, all these people who, you know, don't think that yoga's for them, and also probably are completely disconnected to themselves and are kind of really, really trapped in this diet culture cycle of hell as well. So I decided that, I mean, there were a couple of reasons. One was a bit of strategy. I knew that I wanted to build my email. I knew that I had really amazing kind of community of yogis, but I had the membership. So I knew that they were all like, if they wanted to, they could dip into that. And I wanted something that would attract new people, therefore build my email list and build my community. And also I was like, if I get them there, then, you know, I can have them for longer. They're like a solid customer. And also that idea of, you know, I love those first few classes where they really see the change in themselves, both physically, mentally, emotionally. So I decided that I would create a 12-week, I'm lying, I just added 4 weeks, an 8-week beginner's yoga course. And it was, I mean, it was quite intense for me because, you know, you kept saying to us, create a high ticket item. And in terms of the value of my course, I mean, I love it. I think it's a great kind of balance of recorded content mixed with live content. It's not too heavy on the spiritual side. It's a lot of kind of anatomy, hence the skeleton in the background. And it was, I think for me, just kind of getting comfortable with the price point. And I would say, actually, you know, when you do your first high ticket item, I was still quite nervous about the price point. And I think that's something that you just get confident with as time goes on. So yeah, and I launched that.
What was the price point?
It started February 1st, $450.
$450, yeah. So talk to us about the process that you went through to actually launch that.
Oh, yeah. So I did a lot of kind of calls and chats. I mean, I know so many people just over the years of being a yoga teacher who don't do yoga. I mean, so many of my friends don't do yoga. So I just started having like chats with people about, you know, what are your preconceived notions about yoga? Why haven't you do it? Why don't you do it? What are the problems with your body? So kind of really, and I mean, very specific as well to kind of women between the ages of 30 to 50, because that is really my target audience. So I did a lot of kind of validating. I chatted to people in my community about kind of their experiences as a beginner yogi, if they knew anyone who was a beginner, if they'd have a chat with me, or could they tell me like their reasons. And so I did all of that. And then I did obviously lots of like surveys and stuff on Instagram. Instagram's been great in terms of like those surveys, those polls, asking questions. And actually I've got quite a lot of people to buy courses and join the membership through Instagram. And I just try to be as consistent and real as I possibly can. I've always been quite open about, you know, the different things that are going on in my life. And I mean, it's been a really hard year for me. Yes, there's been a lot of action, but that was like distraction tactics as well. So did a lot of kind of figuring it out that way. And then
amazing. You know, I a lot of teachers skip this part, you know, they get so excited about the course that they forget about doing all of this validation work. So you really did follow the plan that's like laid out, you know, to do all the surveys, the validation, the calls, all of these things, super, super important, so that you can really gather all of the data and get the insight so that you can create that messaging that's really going to speak to those people. And that's really important. So we go through this whole process of the emotional driven survey to really understand like, who are these people, which you clearly have defined. You've talked to us about, you know, your niche and who your ideal student is. And then it's understanding the language that they speak so that you can use that in your messaging.
Yeah.
which is brilliant. So from that, you gathered all of that, and then you created you did another challenge.
Yeah.
So
Which,
what was the success with the challenge? What were your numbers on that?
so I think I had about 250 people sign up to the challenge. I mean, it was just so much fun. I mean, I really timed. So it was January, you know, everybody's feeling a bit sluggish. So I called it Start Yoga Now, something really simple. And it was just, you know, breaking down the boundaries. We're going to learn a little something every single day. And then at the end of that, obviously, then they can join onto the course. That challenge was just, it was bonkers. Like I was, you know, at night still like plugging away at replying to everyone. And that was something that I really wanted to do. I really wanted to like build these relationships.
Yeah.
And the other thing that was so sweet as well is that the people who were like on my membership or part of the community who, you know, are not new to yoga at all would be like sending messages and encouraging people as well. Like, you've got this, keep going. So that was really nice because it's, you know, I'm still at the early stages of my Facebook group. So I'm just running my challenges out of one group, which maybe one day will change. And I was like, oh gosh, is it going to be annoying to be running this like Start Yoga Now when I've got people in the group who aren't beginners? But actually it was really nice. I think they really enjoyed encouraging everybody on.
Amazing. That's super. And so last day of your challenge, you opened enrollment. And then what did that look like? That busy launch period, because it's not over. The challenge is really busy. As you said, you know, you would send in messages at night and everything, trying to keep on top of it all. What did that then launch period look like for you?
I mean, it was a lot. And I think that's like something you just have to take on board. It's kind of the same way I feel about running retreats. Like when you decide to run a retreat, when you're on retreat, like you just need to know that like all of you is, you know, all of your energy is being used and you just need to kind of be on board with it and like treat yourself to a spa day after. But I mean, so I went live every day in my Facebook group. I'd had prizes. So then the last day I went live, announced the launch, said that to the best video testimonial, someone would get a free place on the course. That was really good because I got amazing testimonials.
Yeah.
And then I think I had written a 12 email sequence, which was very difficult for me because that was my first like real kind of salesy tactic. And I, you know, it was a learning experience for me in lots of ways. And I think it is for your community as well, because you're changing from just sending out these kind of fluffy emails with bits of advice to now selling something. And I think I'm really kind of grounded in that now, because actually we have value and we're giving value, and you're not going to get that value without me selling something, because that's how I'm making my living. And I think at the beginning, like, you know, some people were kind of affronted, and if that's fine, go, like, you know, unsubscribe. But that took me a little while to wrap my head around. And it's the same thing with finding the price value of my course. Actually, I am worth that. There's a lot of, I think, getting over imposter syndrome and believing that, you know, what we do is worth the value, all the training, all the money that we spend. You know, I'm not just this, you know, I've done 6 months with you on a course. Like, I know what I'm doing. I know how to streamline. And with that, you know, there's a cost. So yeah, I did all of that. Then plus the Facebook messaging, checking in with people, you know, how did the challenge go? Let's chat. Tell me how this was. And then, oh, do you have any questions about the course? So it was full on.
Intense, yeah. And then, so what were your successes, and what are your thoughts looking back on it now as well, on the whole process, the whole experience?
I think the successes are still the challenge, and a really kind of well thought out course. I think I spent a lot of time really kind of being creative, sitting with big pieces of paper, mapping it out. How could it make sense? thinking about like the physical body. When should we be doing this? When should we be doing that? I think for me, especially with a beginner's course, is that people don't invest in their health right away. And a lot of people don't spend money on their health. And if they're a beginner, and this is perhaps something for me to think about a little bit more, do I do it like a lower priced item that is like a taster of the beginner's course? That's maybe like, you know, a week or two. And then if they want to, they move into the other one. But I think, you know, so many people wanted to do it. Like so many people were interested. But it really came down to the cost. And I think the more I build a community of people who are kind of like tiptoeing on that line of I've dipped my toe into yoga. I kind of stay on Meegan's email list because she's funny and because she's, you know, really grounded and she doesn't take anything too seriously. But it might take me the second, third, or fourth launch of the beginner's yoga course to really invest. And I think that's probably true with any kind of course like yours. There's going to be people sitting on the fence last year about the profitable yogi who are maybe thinking about it this year.
100%. 100%. And so you had 11 students come into the course with you. Yeah. In the end. And your goal, your financial goal was 4,000.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And what did you come out with in the end?
3,600 in the end. So, and I really beat myself up about it. Like I was not a happy bunny after the launch. I really kind of, I was really hard on myself. And I think a lot of that was because the challenge had gone so well, because I was on this real high. Like I was like, I'm going to beat my target, you know, this is going to be amazing. And I put in the work and I put in the time. And I really was at that point where it's like, I deserve to make an income from this now. And so many parts of my life, there was no control. Like I had no control over the fact that we were in lockdown and I couldn't run my studio. I am on this really tumultuous fertility journey and had loads of kind of bad things with that I couldn't control. And I felt like the profitable yogi and this yoga course was like, I've got control of this. And so when I didn't hit my target, I think it was like an accumulation of just feeling like, oh my God, I have no control over anything, which is true. Like, that's just the reality. Like, we don't have control over everything. And it was kind of masking as this like hero that was going to save the day. And it took me like, I think 2 weeks on from the launch finishing where I sat down and I was like, oh shit, like I made 3,600 pounds. Like I didn't have that before. And also it felt like so much work because I was making the course from scratch. I was validating the course. I was, you know, writing all the email sequences where, you know, when I launched the course again, let's say in 3-4 months, I just have to do the same things. Like I don't have to record the course. I don't have to make the graphics. I don't have to set up all the payment processing. All I need to do is repurpose the emails, repurpose the challenge, which obviously all of that takes energy, but so much less than before. And even if I only make $4,000, then I think it will feel more worth the time that I spent because it will be less. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, an upfront investment with your time and energy when it comes to actually creating the course. Yeah. And then you've created that asset, haven't you? So next time it's really about using what you've learned from that whole experience and then making it better each time. Like you can now start to focus on other parts of your launch that maybe you didn't do this time round, or maybe there was a gap in the sales process, or maybe, you know, there was another strategy that you thought might be good to use, but you didn't have time for this time. So you just start kind of layering it up. And that's the beauty of it, right? So what is your kind of overall kind of reflection on it now, like looking back?
I mean, I think I'm just like proud that I did it, that I've got a higher ticket item. Like, I think that everybody who's going through the course and does that, it's huge. It's huge to put yourself in a situation where you're saying, I'm worth this amount of money and I'm going to put it out there, not just like a £7, £5 Zoom class. Like I'm worth this amount, and actually you're worth it too as the customer. You're worth spending that money. And I think for me, it's like, I'm very much a planner, and I've got like a huge quarterly, yearly plan beside me, which a lot of that is from like, you know, the master classes that you have done. And I just feel a lot, again, I'm going to use the word control, but a lot more in control of my time, my year, what's going forwards. Like I've got a VA now, which is awesome. And I feel like I am a business. I feel like I have offerings. I feel like what I now need to kind of work on is thinking about these challenges that I run every year, where to slot them in, and then what launches to kind of pepper in around there. Because I do have some like other little courses and stuff that I've made. And maybe coming up with another course that's quite specific to not beginners. So people who are already in my community.
So we were talking about that, weren't we, last week on one of the live calls in the program, one of the live program calls, how you were talking about, you know, some ideas for some other higher priced offerings and how that could work as like a product suite. So let's just finish then with your kind of vision for the future. Like, where do you see this taking you in the future? What's your big vision? What's it look like?
Oh gosh. Well, I think like both my partner and I, we really want to be kind of like able to work from wherever. We've got a camper van. My family are in Canada. They live in like on the lakes in like the most beautiful places. And I want to be able to work always. I love working. I love teaching. I love learning and like strategizing. But I guess I want to be able to have more flexibility and more freedom, and make, I think, like, I'm not shy to talk about it. Like the other day when you did a live and you were like, you know, this is my goal for this year financially. Like, I'm all about that. I think, you know, if you work hard and you offer value, you should get paid for it. And I know that a lot of people feel like really like itchy about that, but I'm like, no, I've lived like, you know, I've run a bricks and mortar business for 5 years and just was getting to a point where I was going to make money from it. And now, like, what's it going to take me another 5 years to build that up? Is that worth my time? Or do I develop this online business that can run, unless the internet goes down from all of us, like that can keep going. So I think it's just like continuing to feel empowered, continuing to empower other women. You know, the sky's the limit. The more I learn, the more I can offer. So
amazing.
Yeah, I'm just excited.
Amazing. Well done, Meegan. We're so proud of you. And yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, because you're definitely on the right path and you've got it all now. Like, the fact that you've got this drive behind you is just going to keep propelling you forward. So well done. Yay. Thank you for sharing and getting lots of good comments here in the group as well. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and please do give Meegan lots and lots of love and high fives, virtual high fives. But thank you so much. Is there anything you want to finish up on today?
Just to keep going. I know that so many people in the Profitable Yogi are in like so many different stages, and I think it's really hard to like not beat yourself up about, you know, looking at somebody who's doing better than you. And you know, not that I'm saying that about myself, like we all are at different stages. And I think, you know, embrace the small wins, because otherwise you're just it's all gonna fly by and you're not gonna see the journey that you're on and the progress and growth you've made.
Yeah, that's such an important point, definitely. Well, thank you so much for being here with me today. And I'll see you. Are you joining the coaching call?
Yeah, I'm going to quickly eat lunch.
In the coaching call. Actually, the coaching call today is on selling and selling mindset. So perfectly aligned. All right, my love, I'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Big love to you. Thank you for everyone who's watching. Thank you so much, guys. Bye. Bye.